How would you feel about helping me kill some evil bastards?
Baldur's Gate 3 is finally here after years of anticipation, and plenty of fans, new and old, are jumping into it for the first time now. The game is essentially a video game version of Dungeons & Dragons since it pulls so heavily from the TTRPG's 5th edition. Even for returning Baldur's Gate fans or D&D players, Baldur's Gate 3 is a massive game that can be daunting to jump into. Here are a handful of tips and tricks to help new players of all skill levels make it through the land of Faerun. Number 10. Make sure to explore. Baldur's Gate 3 gives players a massive world to explore. Each region you explore will have some areas tied to the main missions, but this will barely scratch the surface of the amount of land that you can explore. Exploring each region thoroughly will have you find unique encounters, new chances for precious experience points, or hidden loot. Baldur's Gate 3 can be a challenging game, so it's best to be as prepared as possible for whatever lies ahead by leaving no stone unturned. Number 9. Making sure you're proficient in your skills. Skill checks will have you roll either 1 or 2 dice to decide the outcome of trying to complete a check. Dice rolls are heavily based on chance. The more difficult checks will be seemingly impossible if you're not proficient in that skill. So be sure to prioritize making checks for abilities you have a high score in or skills you're proficient in. As you level up, it's also useful to expand the skills your character is proficient in to always give you the upper hand once the dice start rolling. Number 8. Don't forget to rest. Fights in Baldur's Gate 3 will always be a challenge and can quickly turn bad with a few unlucky dice rolls. While there are plenty of spells and items you can use to heal up, nothing beats taking a good rest. A short rest will simply restore your HP and is perfect for post-encounter healing. Long rests, on the other hand, do require camping supplies, but will get your entire party back to full health and full spell slots, which is always worth every penny spent on more supplies. Number 7. Talk to your companions. Your companions will be by your side through thick and thin and everything in between in Baldur's Gate 3. Every companion has a unique fighting style, different proficiencies, and just general ideas on how to handle all of the problems that you'll face when playing the game. Each companion that you recruit will have their own side stories going on, explaining why they've decided to follow you on your journey. Make sure to take some time to stop and talk with your companions to get to know them better and experience their rich stories that only further expand the world of Baldur's Gate 3. And who knows, you might just get assigned a side quest that will net you some great loot. Number 6. Trying out multiple classes. Baldur's Gate 3 gives players many different classes to choose from. Each class is unique, with different playstyles and subclasses to offer hundreds of different characters to build. It's a good idea to make a few different characters as a result to try out as many classes as you can before deciding which one you'll take through the rest of the game. With so many options available, it's worth your time to find out which class fits you best before investing so many more hours into the class. Number 5. Switch your companions. Each companion is a different class, giving you many different combinations to try out when deciding on your 4-person party. You'll quickly get access to multiple companions and will continue to unlock more throughout the early parts of the story. Try out different combinations to figure out who works well together and who ultimately works best for the class of your own character. It's important to try and cover as many roles as possible to tackle all of the challenges that Baldur's Gate 3 will throw your way. Number 4. Save often. With the challenging combat and random encounters to be found while exploring, it's very easy to be caught off guard and lose a surprisingly difficult battle. Death will bring you back to your previous save location, which can leave you with a lot of lost progress if you're not careful. It's important then to save often, and even might be worth it to save before any random encounter you see coming. This will ensure you don't lose progress and give you other chances to pass checks or choose different dialogue options if you don't like the outcome. Number 3. Play carefully. With the difficulty of even the smallest encounters, it's always important to be on guard and be careful while running through the wilds. While your party does follow you relatively closely, they'll often be several feet behind you, which is where they'll start should you run into any enemies and begin combat. If you suspect an encounter is coming up, make sure your party members are close to you so that you're not the only target available. Also, be sure to evaluate the risks and rewards of a situation, and don't be afraid to come back later when you're stronger and more prepared. Number 2. Use the environment. Combat has many different factors that may seem insignificant but can greatly turn the tides in your favor. Ranged fighters or spellcasters, for example, should prioritize the high ground, giving them a slight bonus to hitting enemies down below and letting them see over cover. It's also a useful trick to use cover, since hiding behind large objects can block your opponent's view and protect you from ranged attacks. Additionally, it's always a good idea to stay spread out, as some AoE attacks can be devastating if your whole party is bunched up. Number 1, follow your build. Leveling up will not only increase your stats, but also give you access to powerful abilities to make you much more effective in combat. Finding and using better armor and weapons will also help you maximize your damage output and AC. It's important to decide when leveling up what you want from your build, and if you want to further strengthen your class or put levels into a new class to multi-class. Multi-classing has many perks, but can limit your late game strength without the final abilities of a class. How you level up will continue to be one of the most important decisions you make through the entire game, so choose carefully.